Dear students, let us learn friction, a necessary evil, that is burai. And we will learn about various methods to increase and reduce friction today. So here are some experiences where we find friction as a friend. Like, it is easier to hold a cooler, that is an earthen pot, than a glass tumbler. If the outer surface of the tumbler is greasy or has a thin layer of cooking oil on it, it becomes more difficult to hold it. So, it would be not possible to hold the glass at all if there is no friction. It's very difficult to move on a wet, muddy track or wet marble floor. We will not be able to walk at all if there were no friction. We couldn't write with pen or pencil if there were no friction. When a teacher writes with chalk on the blackboard, its rough surface rubs off some chalk particles which stick to the blackboard. This is how one writes on blackboard, okay? It is just because of friction between the chalk and the board that writing is possible on that surface. If an object starts moving, it would never stop if there would have been no friction. Without friction between the tires of the automobiles and the road, there would not have been any start or stop or turning point to change the direction of motion. We cannot fix a nail on the wall or tie a knot without friction. Without friction, there would have been no construction, no buildings around us. This is all because of friction. Dear students, friction is very much necessary in our human lives. Now we will be learning some experiences where we get friction as foe. Foe are the cases in which we have disadvantages from friction. Like friction wears out the materials, whether they are screws, ball bearings or soles of shoes. Shoe soles wear out because of friction. Tires of bicycles, automobiles wear out because of friction again. Steps of staircase and foot-over bridges at railway stations wear out due to friction. Actually, staircase and foot-over bridges get rubbed over again and again by people walking over them, and this results into wearing. Similarly, when we talk about knives and razors, these instruments lose their sharp edges over a long continuous period of use just because of friction. Then we have to get them sharpened again. In these cases, friction is evil for us. Friction also produces heat. Like when we rub our palms vigorously against each other for a few minutes, warmth releases. This is because of heat action. This is because of friction. When we strike or rub a matchstick against the rough surface, it catches fire, again because of friction. The jar of a mixer becomes hot when it is run for a few minutes. Why? Again because of friction. Very good. When a machine is operated, heat is produced, which causes wastage of energy. All these cases are the examples where heat is produced because of friction. So, can you suggest some examples where friction can be increased, where friction is desired actually? The first example is sole of shoe with grooves or spikes. It provides better grip on the floor for safe movements. Similarly, treaded tires of cars, trucks, and bulldozers provide better grip with the ground. We can deliberately increase friction by using brake pads in the brake system of bicycles and automobiles. See in the picture, the grooves are present in tires to increase friction. So, if we increase the roughness in the surfaces, we can increase friction. Similarly, when you are riding a bicycle, the brake pads do not touch the wheels. But when you press the brake lever, these pads arrest the motion of the rim due to friction. And what happens? The wheel stops moving. You must have seen kabaddi players. They rub their hands with soil. Why? For a better grip over their opponents. Similarly, gymnasts also apply some coarse substance on their hands to increase friction for better grip, to prevent any skidding over the bars. This is how one can increase friction. These are just a few examples which we have encountered. We can reduce friction also, where friction is undesirable, where friction makes some disadvantages for us. Like if we have to minimize friction while playing on a carom board, we sprinkle some talcum powder on it. We put a few drops of oil on the hinges of doors, windows, etc. for their smooth movements. This decreases friction. Okay, have you seen this? Similarly, we can use grease between bicycle and motor's moving parts so that the movements are smooth. Actually, friction is reduced in all these cases to increase the efficiency of the vehicles, to increase the efficiency of the tools. To minimize friction, we are actually supposed to reduce energy losses. When we are reducing friction, like in the case where oil, grease or graphite is applied between the moving parts of a machine, a thin layer is formed between the moving surfaces and they are not directly rubbed against each other. Friction can never be entirely eliminated. That means no surface is 100% smooth. No surface is perfectly smooth. There are some irregularities always, which makes friction possible over that surface. So, with these irregularities, interlocking is avoided to a great extent and movement becomes smooth. The substances which reduce friction are called lubricants. In some machines, it may not be advisable to use oil as a lubricant, but we use an air cushion between the moving parts to reduce friction. I hope all these examples are clear to you. Thank you, dear students.